You wouldn't want to maintain capitalism, the system that's, brought more collective wealth and ended more suffering and poverty than any other system in the history of mankind. We are better off in almost every way imaginable thanks to capitalism. Let's take a look at how things have improved since 1970.
And I'm going to show you a bunch of bars. The height of the bar indicates the fraction of American households in that income group. So, for example, here's 1970, and these are all adjusted for inflation. In 1970, 16% of U.S. households earned what today we would call $35,000 to $50,000. In that same year, 1970, 24% of households earned what we would call today between $50,000 and $75,000, and 14% earned what we would call $75,000 to $100,000. That's the United States in 1970. 54% of households in the U.S. were what we consider middle class. In that same year, 35% of households were in the poor classes, 12% of households were in the rich classes. 1970.
Professor Davies then moves time forward, showing in 5-year increments from 1970 to 2017 what happened to the distribution of income in the United States. And all of these figures are adjusted for inflation to what a dollar was worth in 2017. So you can easily compare the real rise in value.
I'm going to move time forward and watch what happens to these bars. As you move forward to 2017, the last year for which we have data, what do you find? You find that the number of households in the middle class has fallen from 54% to 41%. The media is right. The middle class is disappearing. This is the evidence. But the unstated implication when we hear the middle class is disappearing is that the middle class has somehow migrated into poverty. But the data indicate that's not the case. From 1970 to the present, the fraction of households in the poor classes have dropped also, from 35% to 30%. Where have all these American households gone? They've entered the rich classes. Over this period, the percentage of rich households in the United States has risen from 12% to almost 30%. Almost 1/3 of us are now considered rich.
Wow. You won't read that in the Sydney Morning Herald, and definitely not in The Guardian, or hear it on the ABC or at school or university. We are so brainwashed to believe that capitalism is bad, that the very system of economics which has made Australia what it is bad. Not just that it has some bad outcomes, but that it is rotten to its very core. And if that's what we teach our kids, it's no wonder our country is turning into a debt-ridden, government-dependent, socialist hellhole of endless victims and whinging. But you'll never find the left letting reality get in the way of a good old-fashioned whinge about how tough life is. Life is tough, but it's not tough because of capitalism or free market liberalism. It's better because of capitalism and free market liberalism, by every metric and standard. Reduction of poverty, improvements in healthcare, longevity, personal liberty, and freedom from tyranny. All of it is improved by the system that encourages people to be the best they can be so that we all benefit. Capitalism. But they've turned it into such a dirty word that even to say, I think capitalism is good, sounds somehow fundamentally bad or wrong. Why is that exactly? It's almost as if some people don't want us to have freedom to make our own money and succeed on our own merit, because then they wouldn't be able to impose their will on how we all live. The control freaks would have to let go. We have about 2 seconds to turn around this idiot thinking we've fallen into as a society, that somehow socialism would be better for us than capitalism. It is time for a great reset, all right, but not the kind the WEF wants. Quite the opposite. It's time for a great reset on the toxic thinking that's infected Western liberal democratic capitalist societies. A great reset of the assumptions that we've been making about what is good and bad in our world for the past 50 years. If you enjoyed that content, there's lots more where that came from. The Other Side Australia is back every Tuesday and Friday on ADH TV and all good podcast platforms. It's your weekly short circuit summary of the best news commentary from Australia and abroad. Don't miss it.